The first thing my father said to me after 3 years of silence was, "You're paying, right?" And the worst part is, for about 3 seconds, sitting there under those low restaurant lights with 16 faces turned toward me, I actually thought I might. My name is Emily Carter. I'm 30-year-old, and I've spent most of my adult life learning how to make people comfortable before they even realize they're uncomfortable. It's what restaurant work does to you. You learn how to refill water glasses before anyone asks, how to smooth tension with your tone of voice, how to apologize for things that aren't your fault. I think that's why my family always liked me best when I was exhausted. The table was already half destroyed when I arrived. Lobster shells stacked beside little metal butter dishes, wine stains on the white cloth. Someone had dropped sauce near the centerpiece and smeared it with a napkin instead of cleaning it properly. My Aunt Linda was laughing too loudly at something Uncle Greg said, though neither of them looked happy. And there was only one empty seat. Mine. My mother stood when she saw me and opened her arms like we were in some movie about reconciliation. "Look who's finally here." People clapped. Actual clapping. I felt heat crawl up my neck immediately. I should have left then. Instead, I sat down because everyone was watching, and because humiliation makes me polite. That's one of the uglier things therapy helped me realize. Mom squeezed my hand across the table. "This is nice, isn't it? Family together again." I looked around slowly. 16 people. 3 years without a phone call, and suddenly they all missed me at once. Brooke barely looked up from her phone. "You're late." "I came straight from work." She shrugged like that information bored her already. A waiter poured sparkling water into my glass. I thanked him automatically. He looked young, nervous, probably new. He had that stiff posture servers get when they're trying not to make mistakes in expensive restaurants. My father raised his wine glass toward me without smiling. "There she is," he said. "Our big success story." The way he said it made my stomach tighten. Not proud, not affectionate, accusing. I knew that tone. Dinner dragged in this weird, slippery way where nobody says the thing they actually mean. My cousin Megan asked about my job, but before I could answer, Aunt Linda cut in with, "Diana's always been good with money." Which wasn't true, exactly. I was good at surviving panic. There's a difference. I spent years paying bills before anyone asked me to. Electric bills, car repairs, Brooke's wedding flowers. My father once cried over a transmission repair when I was 22, and I covered it without telling him because I couldn't stand the look on his face. That's the part nobody understands. Being needed can feel a lot like being loved when you grow up in the wrong house. The second bottle of wine arrived, then a third. My mother kept doing this fake surprised laugh every time someone ordered something expensive. "Oh my God, live a little!" But her eyes kept flicking toward me, checking, calculating. I noticed little things because that's what I do. My father's cuffs were frayed. Brooke's nails were bitten down badly beneath fresh polish. Mom's purse strap had been stitched underneath with thread that almost matched the leather. People in real financial trouble always spend too hard in public right before everything collapses. I've watched it happen in restaurants for 15 years. The pressure started slowly. "So nice you can afford places like this," Aunt Linda said. "You always were the ambitious one," Uncle Greg added. Brooke snorted into her wine. "Well, somebody in the family had to make money." Everyone laughed, even me. That's the embarrassing part. I laughed too because I still wanted them to like me, even then. At some point, I excused myself to the bathroom because my chest felt tight. Not dramatic, just crowded. The bathroom smelled like lavender and expensive soap. There was classical music playing too softly through hidden speakers, and Brooke's phone was sitting beside the sink. Screen lit up. I didn't mean to look. I really didn't. But the message was already there. Dinner plan. Mom, don't tell Diana everyone's coming. She won't make a scene in public. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I picked the phone up. There were weeks of messages. Dad, make sure she sits near me. Brooke, order before she gets there, LOL. Mom, she can afford it. It's the least she can do after abandoning us. Abandoning us. I actually laughed a little when I read that, though it came out wrong. Sharp. Ugly. 3 years earlier, they stopped speaking to me because I refused to co-sign Brooke's cafe loan. That was the whole crime. I asked to see a business plan. Brooke cried. Dad called me selfish. Mom said family shouldn't need paperwork. The cafe closed in less than a year, and somehow I was still the villain. I kept scrolling. Then I found the message that made something inside me go still. Dad, we just need her to get us through spring. Not, we miss her. Not, I want my daughter back. Get us through spring. Like I was a bridge loan with a pulse. I put the phone back exactly where I found it. Then I stood there looking at myself in the mirror, and honestly, I didn't feel angry at first. Just tired. Tired in this deep cellular way. Like I'd been carrying something heavy for so long, I forgot it was optional. When I came back to the table, nobody noticed anything different. Brooke was taking pictures of dessert. My father was louder now, wine red in the face. Mom kept touching people's shoulders when she talked, performing warmth for the room. And suddenly I could see all of it. The choreography, the expectation. The bill had already been assigned to me before I walked through the door. I think that's when I stopped feeling guilty. Dessert arrived. Brooke ordered the chocolate souffle that takes 20 minutes to prepare, which meant she'd ordered it before I even got there. That detail hurt more than it should have. Then finally, my father leaned back in his chair and looked at me. "You're paying, right?" he said casually. "You owe us that much." The table went quiet. I could hear silverware from another table across the room, somebody laughing near the bar, the air conditioner humming overhead. My mother smiled at me carefully, encouraging. Brooke wouldn't even look up from her phone. And I realized none of them were nervous. Not one of them thought I'd say no. Because I never had before. I stood up slowly. "Let me take care of something," I said. Mom relaxed immediately. I saw it happen in real time. Relief. I walked straight past the register to the service station near the kitchen, where the waiter was organizing checks. Up close, he looked even younger. Tired eyes, ink stain on his cuff. "I'm not paying for that table," I said quietly. "Please give the bill to the man who made the reservation." The waiter blinked. Then he glanced toward the table and understood everything instantly. Restaurant people always do. I handed him my card. "For my water only, and add a big tip." When I sat back down, my father smiled at me like I'd finally behaved correctly. I almost pitied him then. Almost. 10 minutes later, the waiter placed the leather check folder directly in front of my father. Everything after that happened quietly. That's what I remember most. No screaming, no dramatic scene. Just silence spreading slowly across 16 people. My father opened the folder. His expression changed almost invisibly. Then he handed over his card. A few minutes later, the waiter returned. "I'm sorry, sir," he said softly. "It was declined." Nobody moved. My mother looked at me then, not angry yet, just frightened. And suddenly I saw the truth underneath all of it. They really were drowning. But even drowning people can still reach for your throat instead of your hand. Dad tried another card, then another. Declined, declined, declined. Finally, he looked at me across the table, and his voice changed completely. "Diana," he said quietly, "please." That almost broke me. Almost. Because for 1 second he sounded like my father again. Then he added, "You'd really let us sit here like this?" And there it was. Not, "Can you help us?" Not, "We're scared." Just shame. Lame. Debt. I stood up and picked up my purse. "You didn't invite me here because you missed me," I said. "You invited me because you thought I'd pay." Nobody denied it. Not one person. That hurt too. I left while my mother was crying into a napkin, and Brooke was hissing my name under her breath like I'd embarrassed her somehow. Outside, the air felt damp and warm against my face. I sat in my car for a while without turning it on. My phone kept vibrating, family group chat exploding. I stared at it for maybe 30 seconds. Then I left the chat. And the strange thing is, I cried on the drive home anyway. Not because I regretted it, because some part of me had still wanted them to love me after all that. That's the embarrassing truth nobody puts in stories like this. Sometimes the boundary is right, and it still feels terrible.